This interview is brought to you by EmployeeEscapePlan.com. And if you are looking to have more money and have more customers pay you more money more often, then Joe Nicasio, he's a marketing and business coach and expert, and he's amazing. He's worked with Jay Abraham, studied underneath him, been mentored by him. Amazing dude, coached Les Brown, helped him with marketing, and just amazing guy. I highly recommend Joe Nicasio if you want to grow your marketing, you want to solve your business challenges, you want to escape your soul-sucking job, EmployeeEscapePlan.com. And let Joe know that Chris sent you. Now, Rachel Gilmore is a success coach, author, and speaker teaching entrepreneurs how to find and fulfill their purpose. After her own life-changing experience of having it all and losing it all, she began to rebuild on a solid foundation. Rachel discovered her life's purpose was to teach entrepreneurs how to align mind, body, and soul to make an impact, to create financial abundance, and to have fulfilling relationships, and to live a life they love. As a founder of MBS, Rachel provides a safe space for entrepreneurs to learn, grow, and get clear on what action steps to take to create a profitable and fulfilling business. Today, Rachel is making an impact in the lives of entrepreneurs all around the globe. Rachel, you ready to rock this?
Yes.
Boom, baby! We are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. We're going to have so much fun. And thank you so much for coming on today to share your wisdom with our audience today.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we're going to dive into your story, your journey, how you got to where you are today. And before that, we're going to talk about the theme of today, which is the holidays, right? The holiday season. So we're curious, Rachel, how do you really get the most out of the holiday season? How do you show up and relate to the holidays in a way that, makes your life and the people's lives around you just exponentially better?
Well, you know what? I have to first start out with this. I am so grateful for online shopping.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Because listen, I haven't been in one shopping mall or one store. I have not left the comfort of my own home, and I have all my Christmas shopping done.
Oh my gosh.
So thanks to Amazon Prime. So that is a big one for me because I am aware of what my triggers are. I'm aware of the things that stress me out. I don't like traffic. Being an entrepreneur, I can work from wherever I want, so I avoid traffic. I avoid big groups of people and long lines and, all of that. So I'm like, the first things first, if I want to have a peaceful holiday season, just shop online.
I love it. I love it.
But anyways, so that it's about being intentional for knowing what takes me out of alignment. And last Saturday, I think you did something similar, but I spent a greater portion of the day on top of Crowder's Mountain, a mountain close to me, because I didn't want to be in the crowds. I wanted to be connecting in, slowing down. For me, it's a season of slowing down, introspection, spending time with family and friends, doing things so that I can prepare myself for, what's to come. So I think it's being intentional, right? About slowing down and enjoying the season, because I think so many people get so wrapped up in it that they don't enjoy the season. Yeah. And then it comes and it goes, and it's more of a work, doing instead of enjoying and taking it all in. So that's for me is staying in the moment and enjoying it and taking it all in and doing whatever honors myself. And if that means staying away from crowds, then that's what I do.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. And I love that you're real. You're just like, hey, I love that I get to, do all my shopping from home. I know what triggers me. I know what allows me to stay in my bliss. That's you're totally just aware. And, that's really what we're going to be diving into a lot today. I can feel it about the alignment. We have to know who we are and how we're feeling and tap into our body, our emotional body, all that kinds of good stuff. So I'm super excited, and thank you for sharing that. Now, we're going to dive into a little bit more of the challenge, right? We want to get people related to you. You're doing these amazing things. You're a success coach, author, speaker, founder of all kinds of amazing stuff. And sometimes people find that there's a gap between where they're at and the life that they're living and the perception of how people have it all together. And, there's a gap there. So let's dive back in your journey about one of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome to get to where you are today. Why don't we just start there?
Okay. Yeah. So, oh, wow. There's so many, but I'm just going to kind of give you a little history on each one of them because they all have brought me to where I am today.
Yeah.
So my very first business was a brick and mortar business, and it was a pet resort. We did all things pet related, right? And I got that to a place where it was really successful, but I didn't have any fulfillment. And so I started searching for fulfillment in business and other ways. So then I became a personal trainer, and I got into nutrition and holistic health. And I opened my own studio where I did personal training and group fitness instruction. And then I was under so much stress because I was going through a separation at the time, having a lot of mental and emotional stress. And I'm in the gym all the time pushing my body. So now I have physical stress on top of mental and emotional stress. And my body's pretty much shut down on me. So my adrenals crashed, my whole endocrine system started taking a hit, and I was fatigued to the point where I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. So long story short, I ended up having to close my fitness studio. Now I'm going through like a divorce, moving, all these transitions. I lose my brother, who was like he was my big brother. And so all these things start happening, and I'm basically on my knees going like, what am I going to do with my life? What am I really, really here to do? And I started studying how to heal the mind, the body, the spirit, how the mind and the body have such a connection. And I now know that if you're spiritually out of alignment, you're emotionally and mentally out of alignment, then your physical body is going to create disease. And that's what happened with me. My body created disease, and that was the wake-up call for me. And that was the thing, okay, if you're going to rebuild, which I've built several very successful businesses, if you're going to rebuild, you're going to have to rebuild from a place where you're in alignment. And that's what I began to do. And I was kind of on this teeter-totter, like, where am I going to go back into business? Am I going to go into more of the medical field, or am I going to go into like coaching and speaking and that sort of thing? And it wasn't obvious which way I chose, which was the right way. But so I started studying, and I'm like a sponge for knowledge. So I studied everything I could on the brain and took life coaching certifications and all these different classes. And I was traveling and studying and taking classes. And it just became so evident, this is what I have to do. But it took me 2 years to get from a place where I was changing my mindset, changing my emotions, changing, increasing my spirituality, getting my body, healing my body. It took me about 2 years before I could get into alignment. And what I mean by that is, like, you can get into alignment, but because of the neural pathways in our brain and the habits that we have going on, we get right back into old patterns. So I would have to be very intentional, in alignment, right back to my old patterns, in alignment, right back to my old patterns. And when I got to the place where I could stay in alignment longer than I was staying in my old patterns, then I started seeing the shift. And the more I saw the shift, the more I'm like, it's possible. It works. This is so real. Everything I'm reading and studying and practicing is real. I could see it happening in my own life. And then the more belief I have, the more I started staying longer and longer and longer in that alignment, right? Quick
question. Yes. What was the practice that worked best for you to get back into alignment?
So when I say that, I would say, like, let's talk energy. Let's talk like fear and love, okay? So when I'm out of alignment, I'm over here in fear. And my goal is to get back to love, which is alignment. The thing that impacted me the most, like the biggest tool that I give everybody, and there's several, and if you want me to give them all, I'll give them all. But the biggest one for me was writing gratitude. I would sit down and start to write gratitude until it would well up in me, and I would like be sobbing my eyes. I'd be like crying, like laughing because I'm so grateful, but at the same time crying. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. If you haven't, you should try it. So I would just get to this. So that's a shift. Like when you're in gratitude, you cannot be a victim or feel sorry for yourself or be in fear. It's that shift. The other thing I would do is I would get outside of nature. I would literally shut everything down and I'd head for Crowder's Mountain because I knew I needed to connect in. Dancing, turn on music. Sometimes it would get in my car and put all the windows down and crank up loud music and just drive. So there's, you can meditate, you can go take a yoga class. I think for me, it's like movement. Movement is so important. So energetically moving, getting out and moving your body, and then you move that energy through you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also hear like choosing to feel a certain way. So like out of alignment, fear, anxiety, stress, overwhelm is very heavy, and pressure, and like you can feel that start to manifest in your body. If you just like close your eyes and like are present, you like feel it. You'll feel like you don't feel good. It doesn't feel good. So like getting into movement, listening to music, like getting energy flowing, however that is, that's how you get back into alignment with the good energy that like lifts you up, that inspires you, that feels good.
Yeah. So the question you could ask yourself is, what brings me the most joy? And then you go and do it. And if you find yourself moving more into that state of what brings me the most joy, every time you do that, every time you say, what brings me the most joy, and you go and do it, you are proving to yourself that you're worthy. And so many people are like, how do I start to feel worthy? You start doing things, start saying yes to you, start doing the things that bring you the most joy. And you're like, yes, I'm worthy of feeling that joy. I'm worthy of feeling that joy. So many of us don't feel like we're worthy, and you are worthy. But the only way you're going to begin to believe it is by like doing it. And it's going to feel really uncomfortable, right? Like, I don't want to do this. I feel like I should be hustling. And that's the big talk we're having, right? Like, I feel like I should be over here hustling. I don't have time to take off to get back into alignment. And I'm here to tell you, I stayed in hustle for so long that my body shut down on me. And at the time I thought I lost my identity, because that was my identity, being in the fitness world. And when I got sick, I gained weight and I started to lose that part of my identity. And I would not suggest anybody like stay in that path. Not like I did anyways,
Right. Wow. That's powerful. So I hear that like you made these changes because you wanted to experience more joy. And you found that like when you first started doing it, it was like, ooh, like I don't know if I like this. Like my identity, I don't know, this isn't me. I want to keep working. I want to keep grinding. I want to keep hustling. So I'm curious, like, how can people who are listening accelerate that process of detaching from the old identity and the hustle mode and grind mode, and step into the new mentality of alignment?
Well, I find that a lot of people are not really ready to make that change until there's a pain so great that they don't have a choice but to do it.
Wow.
So their health might be taking a fit. They might be not feeling great, or their relationship might be under stress and it's not going well because they're spending all their time. So there's some pain point usually that causes them to be like, okay, it's time for me to make a change in my life and be open to it. I think more and more people are beginning to see the importance of it because more and more people are talking about it. So people are open to it. I think more so now today than ever before, people are open to it. So it's just creating an awareness and people beginning to see the value of it. And then also I think the disease that's happening in this country is a big eye opener that's causing people to do it as well.
Do you feel that there's people who you attract who are on the complete other end of the spectrum, who are like all about Zen and peace and bliss and like not being uncomfortable at all, and so they don't take action, they stay in inaction and analysis paralysis and like that? Do you feel like there's people out there like that?
Of course. Of course there are people out there like that. And there's nothing wrong with them if that's what they believe, right? And I'm definitely not here to like sway my opinion anywhere because I think there's balance in everything, right? So I've had people say to me, how can you not believe in hustle? And I'm like, well, it's not that I'm like totally against hustling. I think it has a time and place. But I think that we've become so like hustle that we never take time, that our bodies are physically not able to keep up with the demands. And I truly believe that if you don't have that foundation of health, then you can't create, what you're here to create. So, you kind of have to slow down.
I want to speak to that because I love how you went back to like, there's people who are like, don't you think there is time for a hustle, which I love. And the people who are like in, the Zen, complete Zen, 100% of the time, they're not taking action. I would say those people are very comfortable and they don't like rise up as really desiring more versus the people who are like hustle, 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 hustle. I got a freaking vision and like I'm going to make this vision a reality. Like those people pop up in a certain way and they show up in our space in a certain way. And those people, what I've learned about myself is like I will never get to a point where like I'm so zen and so like I don't need to hustle anymore. Like I'm just going to be blissed out of my mind, 20 days a month, whatever. Like I'm going to be this person who's like constantly dealing with, I want to keep driving because I'm so passionate, because I love creating. Like creating is a joy for me. And there's like creating for the purpose of driving versus creating with like not being attached, creating with like going and doing meditation, with taking time to myself, going to hot springs, getting massages, whatever it might be. So there's like both dualities of the creation spectrum.
Well, so here's a really good question to ask yourself regarding to all of that. How do you know when you are in alignment? So the question I would ask is, what is your, like, if you had to tell me in one sentence or less, what is your purpose? Like if we kept chunking it down till we got like, what is your real purpose? I hear what you're saying to me, but I want to get to what is like the real thing, like a couple of words. You want to share, like, do you want to tell me what yours is?
Absolutely. So, I'm here to give everyone on this planet access to personal development through augmented reality technology.
Okay, so if we took that down one step smaller, you're here to bring to humanity, like one word.
Like growth?
Growth for what purpose?
Love it, love. Yes.
Okay, so could you potentially say my purpose is to bring more love into this world?
Yes.
Like if we chunk it down all the way down, so that's it. And then, okay, so say this action that you're doing, Chris, is this serving your highest purpose to bring more love into the world? And if you can say yes, then do it. Like, because you're in alignment, because you're doing it for the right reason. If you're being like, nope, not right now, then maybe, maybe don't do it. That's how you can kind of judge my alignment. So it's like breaking it down to what is your real purpose for being here? And just constantly be asking yourself, is this going to make that happen? Am I doing this to bring more love into the world? And then I think that, you're in alignment. And if you want to take a day and hustle like you're doing with these 12-hour days, do it. Because you're serving your purpose. And ultimately, it's not draining you. It's bringing you joy because that's fulfilling you, because that's what you're here to do.
I love it. So do you find that people, they might like mislead themselves on whether or not they're in alignment or whether or not they're like truly in their purpose? Like, do you find that people lie to themselves about that?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a lot of excuses, right?
Yeah.
But I also believe that there is a time to be still and to reflect and to, like I know a dear friend of mine is doing a reset, I think it's what it's called, right? And it's so serving her. I don't know if she's watching, but it's so perfect for her. It's exactly what she needs. So in her case, it's not an excuse, right? But I think if you're in your purpose and you know your purpose and you know what you're here to do, then as long as you ask that question, like, is this serving my highest purpose? Then I think you'll take action because you want to take action because you know your purpose. Wow. Does that answer your question?
It does. So It's like really just being honest with the question. I hear like ask the question and like people are going to know if they might say, so I think the real place I was coming from was like, does the end justify the means kind of thing? So, okay, yes, my purpose here is for love. And if I ask myself the question, what's my purpose? Okay, I'm here to have more love in humanity, more love in the world. I could potentially mislead myself to thinking, well, yeah, like you said, make an excuse, make it like kind of contort it to fit into that somehow, to like manipulate that to somehow come around back to love. And I was just curious if you like see people.
So that's where goals come in. That's where like action plan comes in, because you can get in that place where like, I'm waiting for it to come to me.
Right.
Right. And sometimes I do that.
Right.
Right. And that's what meditation's great for, but you can get stuck there. So, and be like, it's in the name of love. Right.
Right.
So when you have an action plan and you have goals and you're disciplined, because the truth is that your purpose is going to require some things of you. And one of the things that's going to require from you is discipline. Yeah. And I fully believe that many times our purposes won't fully manifest in us until it can trust us. And part of it trusting us is that we are doing the work to take care of ourselves. We are self-care. We are disciplined in doing the things that is going to require of us to do. So it's like creating goals, creating action plans to meet those goals, and being disciplined to working on it every day. I think that that's really important. And that's where coaches are really important. They help keep you on track too, and maybe provide a little bit of accountability. But I think that if we're trying to go at this alone, then yeah, we could try to justify the means. Yeah.
Just curious, like my mind just went there. I love it. Okay. So in terms of hustle, where else do you think that people might be misleading themselves, or where else, like what else can you provide for our listeners to be more in alignment and not hustling and working ourselves to exhaustion?
Yeah, I think it's knowing what your body needs, rest and nutrition. I mean, that's important, right? Exercising, physical movement, making sure you're getting enough rest. Some people only need 4 hours of sleep a night. That's great. But if you need more, like honor that so that you can be available and have the energy to put into your business. Yeah. I think taking time to be intentional about spending time with people you love, friends, families, significant others, that's really important. And so the more that you can recognize how out of balance you are and create goals to get back into balance through some of those things, I think that you're just going to see a massive difference in your life from just like, I got to work. Like I had somebody tell me today, actually, she said my goal for 2017, I forget what her word was, but it was basically to make a lot of money. And she did that, but she lost a lot of other things, her health, not necessarily her health, but she wanted to lose weight and she wanted to have better relationships with her family. And she let it go in 2017 because her goal was something different. So setting goals is really important. And then just making sure that you're putting in time for the people that you love and the things that are important to you.
It's beautiful. And I've been seeing a lot of these, like, what is your word for 2018, right? Like, what are you creating? What's your word, Rachel?
I believe right now it's going to be impact. Or something like that, because I've had words, I think, like the last 5 or 6 years, and every word kind of built on the previous year.
That's awesome.
And every year that I had one, it happened in that year. One year was gratitude and love and abundance. And my life significantly changed in various places during those years around that subject. And this past year was abundance. And boy, did I experience abundance like never before. So this year I'm ready to make a really big impact.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it.
What's your word? What's yours?
I'm still deciding, actually.
Okay.
Like I've been meditating on it. What is it going to be? I know right now what I've been focusing on just in the last couple of weeks is nurturing, right? That's why I went to the mountaintop and was meditating and stuff. And that's like nurturing can come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes, right? Nurturing relationships, nurturing the self, nurturing my business, just really like clients, right? Nurturing people, caring about that, investing energy into that. I think that's so important for me just because I've been this drive guy, right? Like just get it done, like cold, ruthless, get it done. Like not ruthless. I care and love people deeply. And, it's like it was all in the sake of accomplishment, in the sake of achievement. And to come from this place of nurturing is really different for me. But I'm like looking at my schedule and saying, okay, how do I make this a priority? How do I, block time out in my calendar and then stick to it? Have structures, have systems in place where I stick to this stuff. Do I have accountability? Do I tell my coach, like, hey, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this? Do I check in via text, whatever it might be to make sure that I stick to that? But nurturing is super huge for me right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yes. It's like, oh my gosh, when you when we nurture ourselves, we have so much to give to others. Or when we fill up our own cup, we can give that to others. So tell us about a time where your cup was, not really so full and you're like feeling kind of empty and you learned how to start filling yourself up again.
Yeah, so that was around the time that I went through that experience where my adrenals fatigued. I had been burning the candle every end. My ex-husband and I had a business. I helped him start. I still had ownership of the first business and still was dabbling in that. I was doing this fitness business, like so many things. I had daughters, trying to take care of, women. We have all these responsibilities. And I was so burnt out. And I mean, I don't know if you experienced this last week when you went, but when I first started trying to really take care of myself, there was some resistance.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You're like, what brings me joy? I just want to sleep.
Right.
Yeah. Like I didn't, and somebody would ask me, Rachel, what brings you joy? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. I knew that I loved working out. And I knew that I loved like hiking and being out in nature and things like that. And so when the doctor said I couldn't do those things, those were off limits, like I was like, there's nothing. There's nothing.
Empty.
It was. That's the truth of it. I was like, there's nothing. And I was so angry. Like I was angry that this happened to me. Like, how could this happen to me? This is my life. This is my identity. This is who I am. And I was like, there's nothing. I don't enjoy anything. So it took me a while. And actually, it's a funny story. So my doctor suggested, go take a Tai Chi class. Now I've been in CrossFit 6 days a week.
Nice. Nice.
What do you think happened when I went into Tai Chi? And they're like, I was like, give me some weights. Yeah, give me some weights. It was awful. Oh my gosh, Chris, it was so bad.
Wow.
So then I was like, maybe I should try yoga before I try Tai Chi. And I fell in love with yoga. So it was me being willing to try things and me being willing to be really uncomfortable. Here's what yoga taught me. Like this was such a profound lesson as, because I would be in there and I'd be mad. I was a victim. I was like pissed off. Like I can't lift weights and that's all I want to do. I don't want to be in here doing yoga. And then the teacher was like, breathe. The more that you breathe, the more that you can get deeper. Each exhale, get deeper into the pose. Thank you very much. And she's like, just notice where you're really uncomfortable, and your only job is to learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I'm like, oh my God, she's talking to me. And that was it for me, because I was like, okay, I can do that. I can learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that became my new motto. And it went into my, like so much of my life. I learned that through yoga because I was so uncomfortable in so many ways about being in yoga. And I learned how to breathe, and I learned how to do so many different things that came from that one simple lesson of learning to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And then I was like, okay, I'll try anything. What else? What can I do? And it was about me learning to try things and do things and being willing, even though I might have thought they were silly, that ultimately I was honoring myself.
Wow. That's beautiful. So I hear that you were like super, I have to be doing this like weightlifting. I have to be using weights. And then you attempted to do Tai Chi, which that's awesome, because I find it tough to do that, honestly. And you found like, okay, maybe something else I can really find joy in, find progress in is yoga. And then you fell in love with it and just learned to enjoy and be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. So how can we, as our audience, how can we learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, get comfortable with being uncomfortable? How can we do that more in our lives?
I think it's facing your fears. That's the biggest thing. Like, get outside of your comfort zone. What is something that is slightly outside of your comfort zone? And the more that you step slightly outside of your comfort zone, the more you say to your brain, like, it's safe for me to be slightly uncomfortable. And that's how you slowly start like retraining your brain. And the more you begin to step outside of your comfort zone, the more comfortable you become. And you just kind of have this thought process, like, I can get through anything through breathing. Like, there's a reason why they teach women in labor to breathe.
Yeah.
Like, you can get through anything breathing. So just set your intentions. Like, I can do anything, and just start breathing and breathe, and start facing your fears. Start doing things that are very uncomfortable to you. If you want to be a public speaker, but that's uncomfortable to you, like, go take a class, or, do something intentional. Here's something that I'm going to do in 2018 that nobody knows. Nobody knows yet. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to take dance classes.
Yes.
Because I like to lift things up and put things down. I don't, and I want to have more flow in my life. So that's an intentional thing for me. Like, I'm going to learn how to move.
I love it. I took on doing Zumba 3 years ago, Zumba and hip hop, and I'd been dancing at raves and festivals and stuff, jumping up and down status, but not really anything that was coordinated. It wasn't flowy, there was no flow to jumping up and down. But doing Zumba and hip hop, my whole mindset was, I'm creating more flow. I'm breaking up and unblocking, unsticking parts of my life that have been stuck, that have been rigid, that, my hips have been locked in place for however long. And it's just been so awesome in terms of trying new things, in terms of being more emotionally connected, emotionally grounded. And I don't do it as often as I'd like to anymore, but, the lessons that I learned from doing that, from starting and going very consistently for, I think, about a year and a half, 2 years, was super powerful, and so grateful for it. It's beautiful.
See, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn just as a powerful lesson in dancing as I did in yoga. Yes.
Each new thing we take on, if we were to take on, playing a musical instrument, I'm sure there's lessons that people who start instruments learn, and also it trains our brain to think in different ways, right? Learning a new instrument is a form of getting uncomfortable, because people don't like sucking. People don't like not being effective at things, at being good at things. And whenever you start something new, you're gonna not be great, right?
But that's so uncomfortable for me. Dancing is so uncomfortable. It's the worst thing, actually. It's the worst. I don't do it. So this is I'm really getting outside my comfort zone here.
That's so cool. I'm excited. So what's the goal by the end of 2018? What does that look like, putting yourself there with this year of dancing?
Well, I'm definitely going to be more, I don't know what word. I started to say saucy, but I don't know. I think that it's about me going with the flow and not being so rigid, because I used to have a very masculine do energy, rigid. And so I'm trying to be more intentional about receiving and flowing, because, feminine energy is receiving. Masculine energy is giving. I was a giver. I was always right. So I'm finding balance in this, and it's been intentional. I've been doing this for the last 2 years, but now it's I'm being asked to go deeper, which is where that dance is coming in. So I think it's going to impact my life that I don't even have I have no idea about right now. Wow. But it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to see what happens in the next year, and it's a beautiful thing. And thank you for sharing that with us and our audience. And for everyone listening, what's your one thing? Or, we talked about one word. You can be thinking about that, meditate on that over the next couple of days. It's the 20th right now of December, so you have a couple of days, and depending on when this airs, you start. It's probably going to be the beginning of January. So think about what you want your year to be dedicated to, and then secondly, what is it that you can start doing that you've wanted to do that's going to get you uncomfortable? That would add something to your life, that would add a dimension to your life. Adding, Rachel dancing, that's adding a whole new dimension in her life, a whole new way of being, a whole new experience of herself, and I think that's beautiful. Yeah. It's awesome. So that's cool. And then as far as I want to get into what you're dreaming of these days, Rachel. What does the future have in store for you? What's possible? What are you dreaming of these days?
So, my gosh, I have such big visions. Sometimes I get scared thinking about them. Yes. So I see a world of entrepreneurs that are consciously leading, that are intentional about how they live their life. And they are here and they know that they're here to serve humanity in some way, shape, or form. And I see us rising up together, and in doing so, bringing other people up with us. And I see the world transforming in such a way that more and more entrepreneurs are coming up every day, right? And more people becoming aware and kind of opening their mind and starting to be open to love. All these things are happening. And I see us really creating an impact in this world, because I think entrepreneurs have a lot of impact. They have a lot of, I don't want to say power and control, but I think you know what I mean, right? Yeah. So with that, we have a responsibility. And so many of us entrepreneurs, we became entrepreneurs because of a tragedy or an instance or an event in our life that we shifted directions because what we were doing no longer fulfilled us. So we're like running ahead. We're like the leaders in teaching people how to honor themselves, how to go after their dreams, right? We're leading the way in that. So we have a responsibility to reach back and help those others. So for me, I see actually collaborating with a group of 3 or 4, maybe 5 different people who are heart-centered entrepreneurs like I am. And I see us traveling the world, speaking and doing events where we're working with other entrepreneurs. And part of my MBS is that we do masterminding, and we work very specifically with entrepreneurs and small business owners, give them the skills and the things that they need necessary. And MBS is like mind, body, spirit for business. And it's important. It's so, so important, right? That's alignment. And so I just see raising up entrepreneurs who are conscious, who are intentional about giving back and serving humanity. And maybe we can tip the scales. So that's my big vision. I see lots of traveling in my future. I see lots of really amazing people collaborating with them and raising up conscious entrepreneurs.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love your languaging, because you're really creating a visual, visceral experience now. I see. It's so beautiful. And for everyone out there listening, if you want a coach who walks the talk and truly is like nurturing herself, like definitely talk to Rachel, because you can tell that like who you're being right now is you're challenging yourself. You're doing new things. You're getting uncomfortable. You're speaking your vision into existence. You're being interviewed. You're getting your word out. And I just love who you are and how you're showing up for the world. It's amazing.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us about a time where you recently like made a really wise decision. Like you made a decision. Maybe you were a little hesitant at first, and then you made the decision, and then it all like super worked out, and you became like so proud of yourself for making that decision. Are
you ready for this?
Yes.
The biggest thing I've done is I've hired a coach to help me become a better speaker.
Yes.
And, right. But I know that if I want to be the best, then I have to, So I think that initially when it happens, I'll be honest, like I started crying, like I was emotional, like that part of my brain that's like, that's so unsafe, It started like trying to sabotage, like stop. And I was emotional and I was kind of crazy a little bit, actually. And then I realized, like, this is my brain trying to keep me safe. And I'm really grateful it's trying to keep me safe, but I'm not going to let it win. And then I just got really focused about, okay, what do I need to do to shift out of this state? And I moved my body and I went for a walk and I talked with my mentor. And then it was like, this is so right. This is so what I need to be doing. And I'm so grateful I'm not letting my fear stop me. And I know that what I've done is necessary for me to be able to bring my vision, my dream into reality. So that's my commitment to myself, and that's my commitment to the people that I work with, that I'm never going to stop growing. I'm never going to stop. Actually, the other thing I'm doing right now is I'm in the process of getting NLP certified. I did the class last 2 weeks ago, I guess, and now I'm doing their action plan so that I can take the test and get certified in NLP.
What were some of the biggest discoveries you've gotten out of NLP and training?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
There's a lot.
There's so many. And here's like some of what it did was it reiterated what I already know because I'd already kind of been practicing it, and I'd been to some Tony Robbins events. And so I understand NLP. But the techniques that you're not going to find anywhere because they're special to NLP are so powerful. And in the event, when I saw them happening in front of my eyes, working with another practitioner, it was so intense and so powerful. I'm like, oh my goodness, the world needs NLP. And it's really about helping people finding and fulfilling their purpose. And NLP has this model. It's spirituality, emotional or mental health, emotional health, and then body health and fitness. And energy runs down and energy runs up to create. So if you're out of alignment spiritually, mentally, emotionally, it's going to affect and create disease in your physical body, right? Which I've been saying that and teaching that for years. So understanding the big thing I took on was like, once you have that alignment and that really strong foundation, and you have the right energy because you're in alignment health-wise, then you can start to create the rest of your life. And it's just amazing. It's just beautiful. So NLP was just amazing. And what I'm learning and what I'm implementing with my clients is how to get out of procrastination like this, how to change their state super quick, how to take, when people say to you, like, part of me wants to do this and part of me wants to do that, like integrating those to one decisive decision. There's just so many different things, the techniques that NLP has that really work, that can be really, really powerful in helping people change their lives.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. It's definitely a powerful technology. And I love that we live in a world where there's so many options, right? There's so many different pathways to get to that end result. Like you asked that question, like, why am I doing this? What's the important part here? Well, it's because I want to impact humanity. I want to change people. I want to, bring love to the world, right? Like that's why I'm taking these actions. So there's so many different pathways to get there. And there's so many different people and coaches and, seminars and technologies to help us get there. And I'm excited to live in a world of abundance and step into that and forward that world of abundance with people like you and other special guests and our clients, and like we get to create such a ripple effect just by showing up as ourselves and teaching these concepts. It's so amazing. So I love that. I love that you're diving into NLP.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So like what do you see coming up in your life recently? What do you see yourself teaching people? What message do you see yourself really relaying to people over and over again, in addition to alignment or, more specifically about alignment versus hustle? Like what do you see coming up?
Right now, it's a lot of people who are not feeling worthy of that which they desire. And if we kind of look at everything I think comes back to feeling worthy, to believing they're worthy. So I've been doing a lot of inner child work lately with clients to help them begin to go back to those times in childhood that created their belief systems and kind of change that belief system now so that they're worthy. And I think that that's a big thing. I think it's coming up because I think we're in a time where it's time for change, right? It's time for us to stop living in the past and not feeling worthy. And it's time for us to step into these purposes that we're here to serve because we're ready to make an impact in the world. So more and more people are like, they're coming forward, raising their hand going, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to change. I'm ready. And so really it's, for me, it is teaching alignment. It is teaching how to get their mindset right, which is the biggest piece. And then the emotional becomes a little bit easier. And then at that point, then the physical becomes a little bit easier as well, because now they have the right mindset and that connection with spirituality. So it's teaching all parts of that to people so that they can start to begin to feel worthy. And when people feel worthy, then there's nothing that can stop them.
I love that. The worthiness, this enoughness conversation for me personally has been running my life for a lot of time, a lot of my life. And, it runs a lot of people's lives. And I'm grateful that we have the distinctions to know like that it doesn't have to be like that. We don't have to be victims. We don't have to tolerate or suffer anything. We can embrace it. We can love it and appreciate it, and appreciate the parts of us that we really like, and also appreciate the parts of us, the shadow, whatever that we wish wasn't there, but still appreciate it. And like this feeling of not enoughness, like, cool, that's there. Don't resist it. Don't push it away. Don't try to shove it down. Don't try to put it in a box and bury it deep down inside, because that won't give you that peace that you're looking for. And it sounds like the mind body spirit connection, getting that in harmony, is the real way to deal with that stuff. And you're going into the past, healing those childhood wounds, and just having healthy practices for dealing with whatever comes up, because stuff's going to come up, and it's all about how we deal with it.
And the faster we're moving on this journey, the more stuff is going to come up.
Yep.
And so you'll find yourself dealing with things easier and easier and easier every time. And if you do get knocked down, you'll find you don't stay down as long anymore. Feel like your get up muscles are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Awesome. So Rachel, let's start to wrap this up. What are the takeaways? What do you really want the audience to receive and take action on from this interview?
I think it's just taking a good look at your life and look at the following areas. Where is my spirituality? Where do I need to improve? Where is my health? Where do I need to improve with health, fitness, sleep, whatever? Where am I on my mindset? How much am I feeding my mindset? Who am I surrounding myself with? Do I want to change that? What books am I reading, or do I want to change that? What podcasts or coaches am I working with or following? And start really taking inventory on your life and set goals around how you want to change it. And maybe you need to find somebody to work with who can help hold you accountable or help guide you, because we don't know what we don't know. So it's helpful to have someone. The big thing is if you are not currently having a gratitude journal, I highly, highly recommend that everybody goes out, buys themselves a Christmas present, a gratitude journal, make it something special and beautiful. And every morning begin a practice of writing gratitude, and it will set your whole day. And then after you've wrote your gratitude, you can set your intentions for the day. And my big question is, and I ask this to myself, and I ask this to my daughters, and I ask this to people all the time, how do you want to show up in the world? Knowing that you have a choice in how you want to show up. You can show up grumpy and stressed out. You can show up joyful and loving. You can show up however you want to show up. It's your choice. Set your intentions in the morning before you walk out your door to show up like that all day, and recognize when you're not there, and do whatever, have tools in your toolbox to get you back there. And that would be, we talked about the tools earlier to help you move from fear to love.
Awesome. And you have access to these tools. So Rachel, how do people get in contact with you, and what do you want them to do next with you?
Well, I'm here on Facebook. I don't know if you put those up, but Facebook, my website is rachel-gilmore.com. I co-authored a book earlier this year. So if you go to my website, you can put in your email and actually get a free copy of that book sent to your email if you want to do that. So rachel-gilmore.com, and I'm here on Facebook as well.
Cool. And your Facebook, it's on the screen, facebook.com/Rachel Gilmore Speaker, right?
Yes, that's it.
Cool. And then, of course, we'll be putting this in the show notes when the podcast episode comes out as well. And Rachel, you are an absolute treat, and thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this with us, and all the amazing transformation that you're going to be taking on next year with NLP, with dancing, with just really bringing your vision to life. It's really incredible, and thank you for sharing all of this with our audience. And everyone out there listening, definitely contact Rachel. Let her know what you thought about the interview. Take action. Start doing the gratitude journal if you're not doing that. Practice, and go easy on yourself, because it's a journey.
Yes, you're awesome, Chris. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Hope you have the best day ever. Sending you tons of love. 2018, baby! Woo!